Hello, back everybody to Han Talks First. This is a Star Wars show where we talk about everything in the Star Wars world, and today we got a bunch of great things to talk about. This will probably be a shorter episode today. I got a bit of a headache, but I wanted to make sure I did the show today. I got a couple of new things to announce about the outline for this show. One of which includes a new schedule and some other announcements, and also, of course, today's topics. First of all, I want to thank all of you for joining us today. If you're an audio listener and you're interested in checking out the YouTube, we are live on YouTube right now, and I encourage you to do so because some of the things we're talking today require some... it doesn't require it, but I'm putting up some great visuals of some of the things I'm talking about, and I think you'll find them interesting if you come and check them out. But yeah, it's Monday. I hope you're all having a good start of your week, and you had a great weekend as well. I certainly did, just very relaxing. I spent a good majority of my weekend playing my new VR, and if you were listening last week, you know that I recently got the Oculus Quest 2, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure that the stream's coming through okay. Yes, we are streaming just fine. Okay. So yeah, I got the VR, like I told you. I played Vader Immortal. There's a review for that on the channel. There's 2 parts to that, all about Vader Immortal, episode 1 through 3. The other game I just got was the Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, which is in some ways far superior than Vader Immortal, in my opinion. It's just such a new, original idea, and there's so many more new gadgets you can use, and it's more open world than Vader Immortal is. It's still narrative based, but you have the freedom to kind of go wherever you want to in Galaxy's Edge, and the visuals are outstanding as well. I really, really love that new VR game. But anyway, that's it. That's going on with me. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's start off by, I'm going to tell you what you can expect today from the show. Like I said, we got a couple of great topics. Some, for example, are Paul Bettany wants to play Dryden Vos again. He's very eager to return role in the Solo, or the Star Wars world, rather. I also have some new quotes from George Lucas saying, he's still defending the prequels to this day. He says people don't understand them. We're going to get into that. A very kind of offbeat topic, which is actually something I found very interesting, was Star Wars has a form of currency that is available in the Southern Pacific, and it's actually legal to use and to purchase. So I thought that was really cool as well. So I'm going to show you some stuff from that. And finally, our main topic today, I guess you could say, is some updates on the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadrons movie. I got some more info about the possible writer, and also some locations that they've started scouting for principal photography. In addition, there is also, I wasn't going to cover this today, but I will say a little bit about it. I have some updates on the Taika Waititi movie that I'm going to share, and I'll go into more depth on Wednesday for that. So, since I got a couple people here, I'm going to go ahead and start off by jumping into our first segment of the show, which is Star Wars Replay. And for those of you that don't know what that is, well, we do it every week on the show. And here is this week's segment. I hope you enjoy.
Star Wars Replay!
Star Wars Replay is where we replay major moments and events that happened this week in Star Wars history.
On This Week, back in 1977, Mark Hamill was injured in a car accident requiring reconstructive facial surgery, a day before he was set to shoot one of the final scenes needed for Star Wars. In 1982, principal photography began for Return of the Jedi under the code name Blue Harvest. In 1987, the final episode of the original animated Ewok series aired. And finally, in 2012, the novel Darth Plagueis came out. That's it for Star Wars Replay this week. Tune in next week to find out what major moments and events happened next week in Star Wars history. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. We do that segment once a week here on the show, and we're going to start doing those every Monday. It used to be every Wednesday, but considering that the Mandalorian has ended, we're not going to do the Mando Talk Show right now. We'll return that back next year. But until then, our episodes will start to come out Monday afternoon. And for the podcast, they'll come out late afternoon. But you can still also expect an episode on Wednesdays as well. Me, guests, whoever wants to come on, really. But that is the new outline for this show. There's some people in the chat I want to say hello to, such as Robin McFly, hello, and Shy in Spanish. Haven't seen you before, and very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming today. So check it out. First off, I want to say that there is a tipping option for this show for both the video and audio listeners. Now, if you're interested in supporting this channel on a monetary level, you go to www.streamelements.com/HanTalksFirst/tip. There is also a link in the description below, both on the YouTube and on your podcast listening app of choice. So you can go there, you can buy me a coffee, you can support this channel, you can, you can tip whatever you like. It's not expected, but it is very much appreciated. Okay, so I do have some other great announcements today that I wanted to share, some of which are kind of exciting for me. They can also benefit you as well. I told people on social media that I'm announcing my new sponsor of the show today. As you all know, who are listeners on the podcast, you know that I'm sponsored by Anchor. Anchor is a podcast host and distributor, and they have been distributing my show for almost half a year now, maybe 7 months, 8 months, somewhere around there. But I love them. But that was last year. This year, starting off with a brand new sponsor. I'll get into them a little bit later, but I'm really excited about it, and I hope you are too. And I'll share that here in a little bit. It's a great, exciting announcement, but yeah, I can't wait. So let's jump into the first main topic we have here, okay? And that will be all about Paul Bettany, who recently stated he wants to play Dryden Vos again, and he also supports a Solo 2 movie. So he was being interviewed for WandaVision last week, or maybe it was just a couple days ago, actually. And in that interview, the interviewer asked him if there's any characters in all of his resume that he would be interested in coming back to play again. And the quote I have here says, he says, "Oh, I would love to mess around with Dryden Vos. I would love that idea." So that's honestly not the answer I expected to hear from him. He has a whole list of great characters, but he definitely enjoyed Dryden Vos. For those of you that don't know, adding him to that cast was actually one of the last decisions made for that movie Solo. The character Dryden Vos was actually originally portrayed by a completely different actor, and it wasn't until Ron Howard was brought onto the project that he asked Paul Bettany if he'd be interested in coming in. And what's funny is actually Paul Bettany reached out to Ron Howard, and he said, "Hey, I heard you're making a Star Wars movie. I would love to be in one." And he was like, "Okay." And then he added him in as Dryden Vos. I have no idea who the original Dryden Vos was. It could be somebody else, but there's also the possibility that it was a completely new character as well. And maybe Kira was just the singular bad villain in that movie. But so it's a fun fact there. And also, there has been also a bunch of like rumblings that Lucasfilm is interested in making a Solo 2. If you don't know who Michelle Rejwan is the head of live action development at Lucasfilm. And so she oversees every live action project for Star Wars and Indiana Jones, everything like that. She's actually the reason why we're getting so many new television series coming to Disney Plus. Part of the reason, not the main reason. She was a producer on The Rise of Skywalker, and she was also, I believe, the producer on The Force Awakens, not The Last Jedi for some reason. And then after Rise of Skywalker, she's been involved with everything else in addition to that, and she's in charge of the development for those. But she too has expressed interest in wanting to make a Solo 2. And there was one other person, one of the I forget his name, someone who was involved with the art department. I can't remember his name. He's a big guy at Lucasfilm. Has also expressed interest in Solo 2. So it's interesting that a bunch of these people are expressing their interest to come back. I don't think we're getting a Solo 2. One, not a lot of people liked it. Two, there's no revenue in that. There's no money to be made. But we do know that we're getting a Lando TV series. So I think the possibility that Dryden Vos could show up in that is very, very high. It's unclear when in Lando's lifetime that'll take place. There was something I wanted to mention about the Lando TV series that I don't think I've mentioned before. And it is, how cool will it be if this show has like the young version of Lando portrayed by Childish Gambino, but the narration of it, it'll be a narrated show, and then the narration is done by Billy D. Williams, kind of like a reflection on his life. Like back when I was 28, I went to like the Kessel Run and met Han Solo or something like that, and then it shows those events in like that current time with Childish Gambino playing him. I think that would be really cool. And then you could have Billy D back, and I'm sure Billy D would be all over that as well. But yeah, that was all about Paul Bettany wanting to come back and play Dryden Vos. I would love to know what you guys think. You should tell me below in the comments or on social media what you think about that, because I know I have some people that follow this podcast, and they share with me that they are actually really pushing for a Solo 2. So I'll be interested to know what you guys think about that as well. All right. Again, we are going to talk about our next topic here. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I got a bit of a headache today, so it's going a little slow, but I apologize. All right. The next topic I have here is all about George Lucas. These aren't recent comments he made, but these are comments that have recently surfaced because of a new book that has come out. Now, this is all about George Lucas still defending his prequel movies, and more specifically, defending the dialogue in the prequel movies. So there's this new book that has come out called The Star Wars Archives, 1999 through 2005. I really want this book. It's all about the behind the scenes of the making of the prequels, and it has a lot of stuff in there that we have not seen before. And hold on one second, guys. I'm having a bit of a problem with my stream here, so give me 1 second. Okay, I think we're good. If my audio goes out, please let me know. Again, if you're an audio listener, you can hop over to the YouTube and see the video. I'll be putting up some images here and in a little bit to show you all about some of the other topics I have. But again, right now we're talking about George Lucas and how he still defends the the dialogue of the prequel trilogy. So, like I said, in the new book, The Star Wars Archives, 1999 through 2005, there's a bunch of new great stuff in there. And I found one article that mentions an interview with George Lucas and the writer of the book. And he says something very interesting. Here's the quote. George Lucas says, "The dialogue, specifically between Anakin and his lover Padme Amidala, is presented in very honestly. It isn't tongue-in-cheek at all. And it's played to the hilt, but it is consistent, not only with the rest of the movie, but with overall Star Wars style. Most people don't understand the style of Star Wars. They don't get that there's an underlying motif that is very much like a 1930s Western or Saturday matinee serial. It's the more romantic period of making movies and adventure films, and this is even more of a melodrama than the others. So he's clearly talking about Attack of the Clones here in this quote. We all have our own issues with the prequel movies. I'm sure you do. I do definitely. One of which I think collectively we share is the dialogue. More specifically, the dialogue between Anakin and Padme when they're on Naboo together. I remember as a kid watching that. It really didn't bother me. It actually kind of made me feel a little weird. Whenever I would see a movie with like a love scene or people expressing their love for each other, it made me cringe a little bit. But I remember Attack of the Clones specifically being one of those that made me cringe a lot. Looking back on it later and stuff, I get what George is saying. It's more of a in the moment type of dialogue context, and so it's not fluffy, it's not colorful, it's just straight to the point, you know. But there's problems with the consistency as far as, I guess, to the overall story as a whole. They just sit back and tell each other, "I love you, oh, I love you," and it's not interesting. It's not intellectual. And I think he's trying to defend it by saying it's like 1930s kids matinee cartoon style. But the problem is, you know, that style is out of date. And I think he's also kind of discrediting himself there and kind of putting his work down a little bit, because I don't think you want to compare yourself to that type of melodramatic material, because a lot of the work that was coming out in the 1930s from cinema was actually some of the best stuff and most revolutionary stuff we got as well. So you had the silly kid cartoons and stuff like that, but you also had a lot of really great, very innovative stuff happening at the same time with good dialogue. So I think he's going to defend himself to the end of time. Honestly, he also knows he's not a good writer. When he was at the last celebration in Orlando back in 2015, he was there, and someone in the crowd made a comment about his dialogue. I think they said something like, I don't like sand. They screamed it out to him. And he actually replied with, yeah, the dialogue is bad. He's very aware of it. And, you know, I think he realizes he's a good storyteller, just maybe not a good writer. He can write a good story on paper, but the dialogue itself does need some work. So that was everything about that with the George Lucas thing. I find it interesting. I really want this book. If I get it, I will definitely be covering a lot more stuff from it. And since we're talking about books, I'll transition to my new sponsor of Han Talks First, which I'm very excited to share with you today. So let me get it ready here. And here we go. Big thank you to the sponsor. And it'll actually be beneficial for my listeners as well. So here it is. The new sponsor for Han Talks First.
Thank you so much for watching. Today's video is sponsored by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service that allows users to purchase and stream audiobooks and other forms of spoken word content. And because you listen to my show, I'm going to give you a 30-day free trial to Audible. Just go to the link in the description below, www.audibletrial.com/Han Talks First. My resolution this year is to read more books. They make you smarter, but they can also bring you closer to the things you love, like Star Wars. Now, if you're like me and you try to get your hands on every single Star Wars book you can possibly find, then you probably have the same problem I do: shelf space. But it's not just about that. Audible is the leading creator and provider of premium audio storytelling, enriching the lives of millions of listeners every day. Audible has everything you need: audiobooks, Audible originals, podcasts, and more. Thousands of titles. And you can listen anywhere, anytime, on your phone, on your computer, in your car, and they're always launching new content. And it's less than $10 a month with the Audible Plus plan. But like I said, you can get 30 days for free with the link in the description below, www.audibletrial.com/Han Talks First. It's time to start listening, my friends. Link below. Enjoy.
So yeah, pretty cool, right? I reached out to Audible a couple months ago and told them I was very interested and how it would help when I do reviews for books and stuff like that on this channel. And they actually got back to me and said, hey, we love the show and we'll definitely, you know, support you as much as we can. So, and like I said, it's beneficial for you too. You know, it helps me if you go to my link in the description below, sign up for a free trial. And it also helps you because you get to read some Star Wars books. Like I just mentioned before, I recently just got the 2 of the new High Republic books, which they have just started releasing, and a bunch more are coming out later this year. But that'll be something to keep in touch with. But yeah, so thank you so much for Audible for being the new sponsor for this, and thank you guys for continuing to support this channel as well. So even if you're not interested, go to the link, check it out, see if it's something you'd want. I do love Audible myself and have recently just started using it for the first time, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna jump back into it now. There's this website called InsideTheMagic.net that is all about Disney, everything going on with Disney, and it's a very interesting place to look for news and other kind of stuff. But there was something very small that I found on there that I found very, very interesting, and I'm going to share that with you right now. So this is all about Star Wars currency. Speaking of money, and how it is legal in some areas in the world. So let me explain here by reading you a bit from this article. Okay. So there's a small South Pacific nation called Niue, and it's associated with New Zealand. It's nearby New Zealand, but Niue is working with New Zealand Mint to produce Star Wars themed coins and notes. So they have different coins and notes with Star Wars characters on one side, and then on the other side is Queen Elizabeth II. And all of this stuff is found on the New Zealand Mint website. You can look for yourself. I'll put up some images here as well. Let me see if I can find it. So check this one out. This is a $1 note with Rey on the front of it. And of course, on the back is Queen Elizabeth. But so this one is, its value. It's actually worth $1 if you went to go use it at the store or something like that. But its actual retail value of this to purchase is $49.95. But it's really, really cool. I think it's something really small, but I find it really interesting. And New Zealand makes a wide range of coins and paper bills featuring different characters. This one is Rey, but they also have Jabba the Hutt, Chewie, Leia, Han, Luke, R2-D2, Yoda. They got tons of stuff. Another example here is, check this one out. This one is Han Solo and Chewie from A New Hope, and you can see the back on the picture of this one. This one's really cool. Again, if you're an audio listener, check out the YouTube page and go check out some of the pictures. It is at marker 25 minutes and 10 seconds. So this one's really cool. Again, this same as the other one. It's worth $1, but if you want to buy it at a retail value, it is $49.95. This one is really cool. I think you guys are going to love this one a lot. This is a coin, okay? And it's Darth Vader, and you can see the queen on the back of this as well. It's a coin. It is a coin. It's not circular, but it is a coin, and it is legal to use in the country Niue. Let's see. This one is actually my favorite, or one of my favorites. Now, this one is worth $5 if you were to use it at the store, but to purchase it, its retail value is $199. And I don't have a picture of the cases, but they come in like a very nice velvet box, wooden case. It's hand carved. They're really nice. So it's worth the cost just to put it out on display or things like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you my favorite one of the Niue Star Wars currency. This one is absolutely beautiful. It is a 1 ounce gold coin. Check this out. And it's the Death Star. This one caught my eye. I think it is absolutely stunning. It's my favorite one. And funny, it is also the most expensive one. It is priced at an astounding $2,900 US. And I mean, it's eye-catching. It's a gold Death Star, and it features, the Galactic Empire's most intense piece of weaponry. I think this is amazing. Again, this one comes with a nice box set as well. It's beautiful, and you can actually use these coins and these dollars as legal currency in the country, in the nation of Niue. But you might not want to, because the retail value of them is greater than its denomination. Like I said, this coin is worth $2,900. And again, here's a picture of the Rey dollar and the Han Solo dollar, both of these at $49.95. And then the Darth Vader coin. I think these are fantastic. The coin is $1.99, but worth $5 at the store. So these would just be for collector's value for me. I think they're, I don't know why I thought this was so cool, but I wanted to share this with you guys today because who wouldn't want to look at this stuff? It's so cool. Okay, so that's it for the coins. And I know some people are probably annoyed talking about coins on the Star Wars channel, but I promise. I'm going to jump into the main topic here now. And then I'll share a little bit of spoilers for next Wednesday's episode. Let's go ahead and talk about Patty Jenkins. Let's talk about Patty Jenkins and her secret writer for Rogue Squadrons. Now, for those of you that don't know, Patty Jenkins was announced to be directing a Star Wars movie called Rogue Squadrons based off the video game from 1998, late 90s. And the writer hasn't been announced yet. Patty is helping write the story, but she's not penning the script herself. And so she has been saying that actually her and her writer have been working on this treatment for the story for a very long time, over a year, which is actually kind of impressive to hear considering we just now heard about the announcement last month. And to know that they're putting this much work into a good story before they even made the announcement, it shows that they're kind of learning lessons from what Lucasfilm has done in the past. So that was good to hear as well. Now, she also said that the reason she hasn't made the announcement of the writer yet is because she wants him to make the announcement for himself, because she wants it to be a special event announcement. Now, this tells us two things. This tells us it's clearly is a big time writer, maybe writer director. And it also tells us it's clearly a guy because she said him. Now, this interview is done in Variety. You can check that out if you want to. I don't have a link to it. I read it briefly and I'm kind of taking what I remember from it. So the question is, who could it be? The theory here, the rumor here is it is Aaron Sorkin. For those of you that don't know who Aaron Sorkin is, he's one of my favorite writers of our time. He wrote The Social Network, The West Wing, a few good men. He wrote Molly's Game, directed Molly's Game, Trial of Chicago 7, directed that as well. And he also did Newsroom, the TV show. He's one of the smartest writers I can think of our time. And it's rumored that that he is actually going to be the writer for the Rogue Squadron movie. Now, the evidence to back this up is Aaron Sorkin and Patty Jenkins actually did an interview together recently on Variety as well. And in that interview, they were talking about people they would like to work with in the future. And Patty said, I would really wish I could work with you someday. And Aaron also said the same to her. And they were kind of hinting at each other that they could possibly be working on something together in the future. What if it is the Rogue Squadron movie? Now, if it is, what could we see from something like that? What would an Aaron Sorkin scripted Star Wars story look like? Well, for those of you that aren't familiar with his work, he's a very political writer. He's very long-winded monologues from characters, very colorful dialogue, all that kind of stuff. And in his directorial work, it's very fast-paced, very, very hard cuts, and very just high energy, very kinetic movements of the camera. I think on that note, having something very fast-paced is good for a war movie, especially something like Rogue Squadron. I myself have never played the game, so I'm not familiar with its story. I do know it is about Luke, and it is about Wedge and their work for the Rebel Alliance. However, that's not what this is going to be about, because Kathleen Kennedy did confirm that it is taking place after the Rise of Skywalker time period. So it's going to be after that. Luke's already dead. Wedge is long gone. But we can expect something very political. I trust Aaron Sorkin to be the writer of this script. I really do. I love his work, not just because of his colorful dialogue and the messages he says in his movies, but also because I think, one, he's a nerd and he'll love Star Wars, and he'll write to Star Wars. He'll adapt his own work to fit the Star Wars scribe and make it sound like it is Star Wars. He's a professional. He's a writer for hire. He has said that in the past. You know, a lot of the stuff he works on now is what is like passion projects. But at the same time, a lot of the things he's written in the past is by hire. So I think he knows how to get it done. There was a concern that actually a friend of mine did bring up. It was Dean from Four-Legged Gamer. He did mention, you know, a lot of his works, Aaron Sorkin's works, are based on true events or novels or real life stories, or like sports, for example. Moneyball and Molly's Game are both based on sport athletes. And that was a very good point he brought up. So, I mean, considering it's has nothing to do with the original Rogue Squadron game, it wouldn't be a straight adaptation. So it would have to involve more originality and creativity to pen a full story. But at the same time, I trust him. I think he'd do a great job. Watching The Newsroom, which was an original piece. Watching there was something else that he did. That Molly's Game does have original aspects to it. It's loosely based on true events, but both of those are very great, very entertaining, and very smart films. And I really look forward to this as well. But not just about the writer for Rogue Squadrons. Do I have some updates about? I actually have some updates, also from Patty Jenkins as well, on some of the cast members she wants for Rogue Squadron. Some of it might actually blow your mind. Some of it might upset you, but we're gonna find out. So, given that Rogue Squadron is debuted to premiere at Christmas 2023, so we got about a little over 2 years before that happens. 3 years. It's probably going to be a while before we hear any like confirmed casting announcements for Rogue Squadron. But that hasn't stopped the rumor mill. No, sir. And I'm going to provide you with a few possibilities here, because according to Rogue, I cannot talk today. According to Patty Jenkins, she has hinted to Kathleen Kennedy and other people at Lucasfilm that she wants Chris Pine and Gal Gadot to follow her into this movie. Now, this is reported from a Patreon page, and it's from a scooper at Lucasfilm. So it is hearsay, but it is a possibility that this is true. Now, Chris Pine and Gal Gadot, of course, are two of the stars of the Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84 movies. And the first one was great. The second one is causing a lot of issues, and actually so much so that people are saying, should we be scared for Rogue Squadrons? I don't think so. Even if Wonder Woman 84 was absolute garbage and a total piece of shit, I still think you can still have high hopes for Rogue Squadron. One, because this story has a very important meaning for Patty Jenkins. She's going to base it off her father being a fighter pilot in the Air Force, but also because all of her other work is all the other work has been absolutely amazing and outstanding. And even though a lot of people don't like 84, her other work still, outmatches 84 if you consider it a bad movie. But I still think we can have hope for that. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if either Gal Gadot or Chris Pine showed up in this movie, because Patty Jenkins is also bringing Gal Gadot with her into Cleopatra. She's making a Cleopatra movie, and it's unclear when that will come out. But it has been confirmed that Rogue Squadron is the next Patty Jenkins movie. That was confirmed. And again, so this is all the information we have about it. It's rumored that Gal Gadot and Chris Pine will follow her into Rogue Squadrons and be characters, main characters or side characters. Who knows? It could just be a little cameo, but it's not too far-fetched. A lot of directors like working over and over with the same people. Look at Chris Nolan, for example. Frickin' what's his name? The guy who plays Alfred. He's in every single Chris Nolan movie. That could be Patty Jenkins' Lucky Charm. And again, the other big news was that her secret writer for Rogue Squadron could be Aaron Sorkin. I think the thing to take away from this is that they're taking their time with Rogue Squadron. They've taken over a full year to write a treatment for a story, not even a script yet. And then we have 3 years of production until it comes out. So I think we can have a lot to look forward to with Rogue Squadron. And Star Wars is in a good place right now. Okay, that was all I was going to talk about today, but there was something I wanted to share that is kind of news, kind of spoilery, I guess. I don't know. But I'll remind everyone again that there is a tipping feature involved to the show at www.streamelements.com/HanTalksFirst/tip in the description below, wherever you are listening to this now. And it helps a lot if you want to contribute to that as well. But so the last thing I'm going to talk about here is, let me find my notes on it. So it's updates on the Taika Waititi movie. I'm not going to give you everything because I'm talking about this on Wednesday, but I find it very, it's good news. So anyway, about 2 months ago in Scotland, some people over there, I forget who those were, but they work for government Scotland, and they were saying that there was a film crew out there. They were shooting photography in the Highlands and off the coasts and some of the hills and surrounding areas, and it was a very small crew, and the assistant director was reportedly the assistant to Taika Waititi. So they're not starting to shoot Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. They're scouting for locations. So they were out there in Scotland looking for good areas where they could shoot this movie. Now it's a hillscape. So this can tell us maybe this will be a location for a planet on this movie. For those of you that don't know anything about Scotland geography, it's freaking cold. It's gloomy. There's never a sunny day out there, and it's very, very big, grand landscapes. So high grass in the areas that they were shooting at anyway. But so maybe this can tell us a little bit about the Taika Waititi's movie, that this will be a location for an alien planet. Maybe it takes place on our own Earth in Scotland. Who knows? But I thought this was really cool and interesting. There's a lot more to talk about with this story I'm going to talk about later, because there are other things that came out from this as well, such as what the movie is actually going to be about. I don't have a title yet, but I'm going to talk about everything on Wednesday's show. We're talking about all about Taika Waititi and also some other casting news from Lucasfilm and other stories that they're creating. So yeah, that's it for today's episode. Again, like I said, we covered Paul Bettany wants to come back and play Dryden Vos. George Lucas still defends his dialogue in the prequels. Star Wars currency is legal in the nation of Niwai. I'm going to show this again because I think it's so freaking neat. And again, if anyone wants to buy me some, it's totally cool. So this is the Ray dollar. So cool. Here's the Vader coin, which is shaped like Darth Vader. So incredible. The Han Solo and Chewie dollar bill. And my favorite, the Death Star coin. I think this is incredible. Again, if you're an audio listener, go over to the YouTube and check that out. It's at the 40-minute mark. You can see the visuals there. But that is all we have today, everybody. I would like to thank you so much for coming on to this live stream, if you're here on the live stream. And thank you to all the audio listeners. Again, and thank you to Audible for sponsoring this show. It means so much. And come back on Wednesday. We're going to talk about a bunch of great stuff. And tune in next Monday, and we'll come back with another live stream. And a bunch of great videos coming out on the YouTube channel this week as well. So come check that out. It's about some of the stuff we talked about today and on Wednesday, but there are more depth a little bit and with some more fun visuals and stuff like that. But that's it for me today, guys. So thank you so much for joining us here today. Check out the social media at Han Talks First. We just did the Star Wars replay on there. You can go check that out. We're doing those every single week. And hit me up with any questions you have about Star Wars or about the show, and we'll get your comments on the show. So somehow, some way, somewhere this week, may the force be with you.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.